I got involved in the book business in actually 1968, and I had opened a store in Denver with some friends. We opened it as a co-op. It was a small store on East 17th, about 3 blocks east of downtown. So then I decided to move up to Boulder and bought this building where the bookstore used to be. It's about half a block to the east of where we are now. And it took about a year to renovate the building. So eventually we opened in September of '73, and there were 3 other businesses that were there at the same time who I also was renting space out to. So the bookstore part was maybe 40% of the space, and there was a Mexican import store and a flower store and a little toy store. And gradually they went out of business, and the bookstore just kept expanding there. Till eventually we had the whole space, and I even renovated more of the basement for the bookstore to expand into. And then we moved to where we are now in '91, and it took, we were kind of being forced out of the building because someone else had bought the building or owned the building at this point, and so we had about 3 months to renovate the space. It was like hectic. On Thanksgiving, we need people to come and put the books on the shelves. We finally had the whole store. So we served, my wife made this big Thanksgiving dinner, and in this big room down here, we put up tables and enticed the staff to come to put out the books and gave them Thanksgiving dinner. So many kind of stories just to kind of keep the whole thing, the ball, rolling and rolling. And so here we are now. All this time, but those are the early days. So this building was apparently built around 1880s, and this big room behind me, which we use for events and also fictions there, and teen and photography and art. There are many other sections, but it's also used for events. We push all these cases out of the way. We could sit maybe 75, 80 people there. So we've used it for lots and lots of events. And shortly after we opened, this older gentleman I'd seen downtown for a long time came in. He said, "Oh, I remember coming here as a kid." So these rooms here, there used to be one big room on this kind of balcony. So he said the band played up here, and it was on one kind of level. There's a couple levels there now, and so it was a dance floor. And then there's offices that aren't connected to the bookstore now, and that's where men would go and play cards. And this is kind of actually common throughout downtowns, not just here, but throughout the country. In many of the retail spaces that are here have had offices added since, but I remember when I first got into business, most of these spaces were empty upstairs. They're just big open rooms that people could still rent for events. And when I first came to Boulder, I remember coming up here because there was a photographic studio, and this guy was living up here, and also used it as dark room and a place to set up backgrounds for scenes to take photos. And then after him, it was a Buddhist shrine room. And after that, somewhat associated with that though, Naropa University was here, and this was their performing arts space. And Allen Ginsberg and Ram Dass and Burroughs and all those kind of beat people who were older at the time came to read here and perform. So it had that kind of history. And then it was vacant for a while till we actually took the space over. But it's had a long kind of interesting history, and actually we're kind of proud to have the space.